going to start attacking energy infrastructure in the region, and the global economy will probably won't survive this war. So I'm sorry, but I don't even think going back to the war is honestly a smart idea, unless you're just willing to throw away the entire global economy.
Or we're going to strike a deal, and I think that's an important thing. That's what we're focused on, and that's what we're going to keep on working towards. Okay, but it is very okay. In like the purple, kind of the purple dress there. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Go ahead.
Vice President Rowena Ortiz with Turning Point USA. There has been an uptick in religious violence across the country. What's your message to protect people across all faiths in America?
I appreciate that question. Obviously, Turning Points would know.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think she's talking about, the mosque shooting in San Diego. That, oh my God, bro. Looney Loomer, man. Looney Loomer. Somebody needs to get this lady. And I did kind of go off about this because I've been saying that you guys know that all you guys said, oh no, we don't hate Muslims, we just hate Islam. And all this fear mongering on Islam, saying that we need a second crusade and another crusade and all this good stuff. Yeah, this what that leads to. Is people going out there thinking that they're gonna start killing people who believe differently than them, who they've been told is a threat. And guess what Laura Loomer said? And this goes to Loki proves my point. The mosque that was supposedly shot up today, and it's kind of crazy because she's doing the exact same thing Alex Jones did, mass shooting denying and all that good stuff, or what was it, school shooter denying, but mosque shooting denying now. And you know how Alex Jones completely lost his career over that? Bet you nothing happens to her. But all right, though, just remember that the people who attended this mosque wanted us all to be killed. So you're telling me everybody in that mosque wanted us to be killed, and that's how you're going to further dehumanize Muslims? Do you see why I go so hard on these people? Because they literally will sit there and dehumanize people right in y'all face, and some people just eat this shit up. I'm pretty sure there's people who literally are saying, oh, well, they deserve it. They're just a bunch of Muslims. And then there are some of you guys who aren't at that extreme, but you're close there with them with your criticism of Islam. And a lot of y'all aren't even accurate in your criticism of Islam. But here we go. We will be told today that they are such amazing people. I'm like, what do you mean by that? But I'm not advocating for violence, but you are, because you just pretty much said that the people who attended this mosque wanted us to be killed. So that means you're pretty much saying that, look, remember, they wanted us to be killed, so we shouldn't care about them. That's exactly what you're saying. But she's going to hit you with, I'm not advocating for violence. I condemn violence. I'm showing you how evil this mosque is and always have been. It should be rated by ICE and the FBI. So F the tragedy that went down, F the fact that people died. Let's just talk about how they're a bunch of crazy terrorists because they're Muslims, right? Yeah, I know. And it's so crazy because I think the kid's manifesto came out. I mean, he went off on Jews. He went off on, black people. I mean, and of course, he went off on Muslims as well. So yeah, you guys got to understand something here. Guys like Laura Loomer, Nux, Jake Lang, this is what they're convincing people to do. And I don't even think I'm not going to say this is their intention. This is what they go out there and wake up to do every morning. But this is what they're doing, intentional or unintentionally. This is the type of hatred they're breeding. And I don't think we should promote it. You can have your criticism of Islam. I really don't care. But if you're going to demonize those people, that's where I'm always going to disagree with you. If you're going to demonize religion off scripture taken out of context, that's what I'm going to call you low IQ, because you're literally choosing hate over understanding. But all right, though, back to it.
Know a lot about this issue. As we talked about earlier, you guys have been the subject of a fair amount of violence yourself. I guess what I would say is the principle of religious violence is particularly disgusting, especially in the United States of America. And as a devout Christian, I would say it's one of the most anti-Christian things and anti-American things that you could do. And here's why. One, because a fundamental principle of all the great faiths is we are all children of God. And because of that, we are endowed by certain rights that are unique to our status as human beings. You violate those rights, most importantly, when you commit violence against another person. You can violate them in other ways as well, but the most profound way to violate the fundamental right of human dignity is to commit violence. But here's why the religious piece of it is particularly...
Hey, and shout out to my man Kingin for setting the star, and he's doubling up on the stars. Hey, I appreciate the support, my man.
Egregious. One of the fundamental American rights that I think came from our Christian heritage as a civilization is the idea that we respect people's religious freedom, in part because we respect them as human beings, but also because we respect their right to find their own pathway to God.
And here's the thing, I'm gonna be real with you, on the right, they have now become more religiously intolerant than the left. And it's an amazing thing to see, especially when it comes to Muslims. I mean, Muslims can't pray in front of them without them twitching and losing their mind. Muslims can't even, bro, a woman wears a burqa in front of a MAGA guy and they literally lose their shit. It's like, bro, it's unnecessary, bro. And it's extremely bigoted. And it's just like, bro, what is wrong with you guys? And then they have this warped perception of Islam that if they explain it to you, you can literally sit out there and break it down how everything they believe is wrong. And they'll still sit there and believe that because, well, they actually want to hate them. I don't know what it is, but some people actually want to hate them. It's like a true racist of a black person. You could sit there and be like, yo, black people, there's black people who are like this, that. Not all black people fall for that stereotype, but they want to be racist. They want to be a bigot. They want to hate black people. So they're going to say F what you talking about. That's how people like Laura Loomer, Nux, and the rest of them are. No matter what you say to disprove them about Islam or about Muslims in general, they just want to hate them. And they want to push it as well because they want people to push Islam, well, out of, I'd say, existence. But I'm not going to go that far. I really don't know their true intentions. Lord, but the only intention I know is that they just don't like Islam. And they're willing to villainize people over it. They're willing to bastardize an entire religion. For what? For what? Oh, to promote a war in the Middle East?
You can't force anybody to a pathway to God. They have to, through their own free will, find God themselves. That's one of the reasons why that right of religious freedom is the very first right enshrined in our Constitution.
Yeah, MAGA don't care about that no more.
So when you commit acts of violence, you're committing an act against this fundamental idea that people are created in the image of God.
Good, man. MAGA don't care about free speech no more. They don't care about freedom of religion no more. I mean, they don't care about the donors buying out politicians. So MAGAs are, I mean, guys, at this point, when I seen Massey lose and I'm seeing that there's a lot of MAGA guys who are supporting it, I'm like, okay, yeah, MAGA done sold out. Y'all done sold out to the donors. When you sit there, literally watch donors buy a seat and you sit there and cheer it on because it's Trump, you guys are the sellouts. We're supposed to be against the donors. We're supposed to be for people who actually have good policies. Thomas Massey stood for everything that was MAGA, everything that was America first, and you guys sold him out for $10 million. Wild. Wild.
And that they have the right through their own free will to find God however they might want. And as a Christian, of course, you might have your preference for how they find their pathway to God. They have to find that choice. And anybody who would commit violence against another human being in the name of religion is, I think, doing something that is a violation, of course, of the laws of man. But I think more importantly, it is a fundamental violation of the laws of God. Let me go with, okay. Garrett.
But you know, it's so funny. Somebody would literally tell JD, but you don't understand. It's Islam. They worship Satan. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like you, I'm sorry. I got to stop bashing on these guys, but they're just so, and you know what? I guess people get mad at me when I call them low IQ for disagreeing with me on the stance of Islam, but it is low IQ because you guys literally go off misinformation and then have this hatred of a religion that you have no understanding of. And even when people show you the right information, you still stick to that bias. So it's just kind of like, what else can I call you?
You have your hand up. Garrett.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Midterms are well underway. You've got voters going to the polls in 6 states today. You and the president ran on a platform that included no new wars, cutting gas prices, cutting inflation. What do you say to people who are going to the polls today and who feel like those promises are unkept?
Well, I'd say a few things. First of all, we've delivered great wins for the American people. We ran on delivering tax cuts to the American people, which we did, the largest tax cuts in American history. We ran on cutting taxes, particularly on people who were working on.
Yo, we got about 14 of y'all in here, man. Do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's make sure we double tap that screen and let's get more people in on the conversation. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel.
Overtime, working on tips. We cut taxes for those Americans. We ran on the promise of bringing investment back into the United States of America, that rather than factory closures, we were going to have factories opening. And we've seen both construction jobs and manufacturing, but also manufacturing jobs have great rebounds under the Trump administration and under our leadership. We are very aware that because of what's going on in the Middle East, gas prices have gone up and a lot of Americans are struggling because of that. Our view is that it is a temporary increase. We're taking a number of steps to try to push back against it and try to ensure that Americans are paying as little at the pump as possible. But I feel.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay. If that's what you guys wanted, then you would cease this war with Iran. You would actually get down to a deal and you would see oil futures fall. But since you guys are talking about getting back into a conflict with Iran, it only tends to go up. Like Brent crude, last time I checked, was like $110. And WTI crude is at 107. Well, you know what? I'm about to go check right now. So I'll be right back with that information. But shout out to my man Kingin for sending the thumbs up for 10 joules. Appreciate the support, my man. And guys, make sure we double tap that screen, like the video.
Quite confident after we've taken care of business in the Middle East, those prices are going to come down. And there have been a lot of prices, as you know, a lot of prices from rent to housing, where we still got a lot of work to do, but we do see some real progress made across the economy on pricing, but also on people's jobs. Okay.
But all right, since he wanted to talk about gas prices, I mean, let's go to the futures real quick. And Brent crude is at $111, up $1 from yesterday. And WTI is actually down, I believe, what? It was like 106 yesterday, so it's down $2, but still over $100, aka gas price will not be falling anytime soon. Nope, not anytime soon. But I mean, shoot, it sounds nice when he says it, does not? Doesn't it make you feel just a little bit comfortable? Not me, but hopefully somebody feels that way. But all right, though, let's get back to it.
I have John. I'm going to call on John. I'm just going to start calling John Rosh. Yes. Great to see you too. Thank you.
So Trump initially said that the war would last 6 weeks. We've been going on for 11 weeks and 3 days. What's your message to the American people as to why it's gone on so long and it hasn't ended yet?
Well, first of all, the president said it's going to be a short-term operation, and I think that has proven out to be true. The active period of conflict lasted about 5.5 weeks, and now we've been in the ceasefire where we're trying to get a negotiated settlement that gets the American people the things that we need for our national security. So I've said before that we're going to go one of two options here. We're going to have a good settlement that actually gets the American people what they need, or we're going to go back to a kinetic operation. Obviously, the president prefers to get that settlement. I think the Iranians prefer to get that settlement. But regardless of what direction the president ultimately goes down, whatever he ultimately decides, I think it's important for the American people to know two things. Number one, it will be for their security and their prosperity. That's why we're doing this. And number two, this is not going to be the sort of thing that lasts forever. I think a lot of Americans, especially in my generation, who are worried about forever endless conflicts, we have to remember, I think you said 11 weeks, a big chunk of that has been a ceasefire. This is not a forever war. We're going to take care of business and come home. That's what the president's promised, and that's exactly what he's going to deliver. Go ahead. Yes. No, the orange. Yeah. Guys, please don't shout over each other.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Egyptian Foreign Minister today, in an interview on CNN, he said that the Arab countries are working with you on a memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Iran that can lead to a deal. Can you confirm that? And one other question also on Iran. You've spent over than 20 hours with the Iranian negotiating. Do you believe that other countries may be able to achieve what those negotiations could not?
Well, I think that the purpose of our initial negotiation was, one, to establish some relationships between two countries that hadn't talked directly in a very, very long time. And number two, just to get the pathway started to negotiation. I don't think any of us, meaning me, Jared Kushner, and Steve Witkoff, had any great confidence that we were going to be able to reach a deal. But we did think we were going to take important steps along the pathway to reaching a deal, and we did. Now, you asked what the Egyptian foreign minister said. I haven't seen those comments, so I won't comment on them myself. What I'd say is I'm not going to detail what's going on in the negotiation. There's a lot of back and forth. A lot of good progress is being made, but we're just going to keep on working at it. And eventually we'll either hit a deal or we won't, but we're going to keep on working at it. And I think it's important for us to actually privately have these conversations, because sometimes when you're doing a negotiation and you put everything out there in public, it actually complicates things more than it should. So we're going to keep these negotiations private until we've got something, of course, to tell the American people, and at that time we will. Okay. Yeah. Is that a magenta tie? It's hard to tell. He's like a purple tie there, right?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Okay, so this guy insists that he has the real purple tie. So I'll give you a question too. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Two questions for you, one on Iran and one on China, given the president's trip last week to Beijing. On Iran, you met on April the 11th with Iranian negotiators, including the foreign minister. Is it your sense, Mr. Vice President, that they're just stringing the U.S. along? That's the sense from lawmakers from both parties. And then on China, you come from a state that manufactures a lot of automobiles. Is it your sense that within this term that you have with the president, that China branded vehicles will be sold right here in America?
Well, I think that what the president has shown a willingness to do, unlike any president in my lifetime, is to protect the American automotive industry. We're not going to let the American automotive industry disappear. There are a lot of ways in which we've reinvested, in which we've tariffed foreign competitors to ensure that American car workers, American auto workers, and the products they develop are going to be made right here in the United States of America, and also available right here in the United States of America. I think it's important for just the American people. I want to make this point. Car manufacturing is one of those skills that when it disappears, it's hard to regain. And when you've got people who can build complex machines, and our great workers in Ohio, Michigan, and elsewhere, they do a very good job. They also, God forbid, in times of national emergency, can be called on to manufacture other complex machinery. So it's very, very important that we protect that native auto industry. The president has done more on this than anybody, but we're certainly going to keep on working at it. You asked about being strung along. Look, you never know until you know. Right? what all we can do is negotiate in good faith, try to find a path.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair to say. That is absolutely fair to say. Like, you don't know until you know, man. We're just gonna have to F around and find out with the Iranians. But here's the thing: I don't think we can come to a memorandum of understanding, because what the Iranians are gonna tell the other Middle Eastern leaders is that, yo, look, we're going to keep the 60%. Now, if we can agree to a ceasefire and a non-aggression peace treaty, maybe 5 to 10 years, yeah, we'll go ahead and give it up. But all U.S. has done is proven why we need this 60% enrichment. So we'll see what the Arab states can get out of them, but I'm predicting that they won't be able to get much. And the Arab countries are just going to, our ally Gulf countries are just going to come back and echo the same thing they've been telling us in their demands.
Pathway that accomplishes the president's objectives, that accomplishes the national security interests of the American people, and gets this thing in a good place. I think somebody earlier asked this question. I am not certain, and I'm not going to be certain until we sign a deal that we have a deal, but I feel confident enough to keep on doing the work and to try to find a good deal for the American people, and that's what I'm going to do. So
guys, we got about 14 of y'all in here, man. Do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen and smashing that like button, depending on how you watch.
The guy with the real purple tie. I will give you the final question, and then I'm going to have to hit the road.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Sorry, this guy and then the very tall guy here. We'll give him the question. Sorry, I can't get to everybody. Marco's right. This really is chaos. This is crazy.
Yeah.
You guys got to behave yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The president's financial disclosures were released recently, and they showed a lot of stock trades in companies that he has talked up at events, official events at the White House, on his True Social account, sometimes even putting the stock ticker symbols in his posts and encouraging people to buy their stock. Americans, according to recent polling, are increasingly describing the president as corrupt. And trading stocks.
This is a hell of a question.
Thank you, sir. Trading individual stocks is something that you said that public officials should not be able to do when you ran for Senate all those years ago. And yet the president, who arguably has access to more non-public information than your average senator, is not only buying and selling individual stocks either through his trust.
Okay. What's the question?
The question is, the question, sir, is how can you and your administration argue to Americans that you're cleaning up corruption, you're preventing fraud, you're fighting the sorts of things that harm people and people's financial situations, when the president seems to be talking up stocks that he owns, selling them, and enriching himself?
Okay, so here, let me answer your question here. That was a doozy. Before I answer your question, I want to just observe there are different ways to ask a question. Okay, you can just ask a question, try to get your answer, or you could do like a speech where you say, Mr. Vice President, you're a terrible human being, and so is the president, and so is the entire cabinet. And then I'm like, what's your question? And then your question is, how dare you? Come on, man. Have a little bit of objectivity in the way that you ask these questions, because there were a lot of things in that speech masquerading as a question that didn't actually get asked. Okay. Number one, the president doesn't sit at the Oval Office on his computer on his like Robinhood account buying and selling stocks. That's absurd. He has independent wealth advisors who manage his money. He is a wealthy person. He has had success in business. He's not making these stock trades himself. And your question imputes that. It doesn't say it exactly, but a reasonable person listening to that question would assume the president is sitting around and doing that. He's not. Second of all, you're right. I am a big fan of banning members of Congress from trading stocks. So is the president of the United States. All of us believe that nobody should be taking proprietary information gained from public service and buying and selling stocks. We want to ban that. We want to ban that process. And I think the way to lead by example is banning that process, banning that approach.
Hey guys, the complete manifesto of the shooters of the mosque, came out. Do you guys want me to read that? Because I mean, bro, I'm gonna have to probably set out a segment for it, but it is a long ass manifesto that says a lot. And the disturbing part is that it ends off on, what was it? Like, let me just read you just a little bit right here, right? Because he said, part of the manifesto says, what are your views? I'm a Christian eco-fascist accelerationist. I believe that the one and only way to the liberation of the white race is through violence, sabotage, and revolution. I believe we need the white masses to realize we are not at fault for the failures of other races. I believe we need to accelerate the collapse of modern society so that we can rebuild it into something better. And let's see here. What are your views on religion? The only good religion is Christianity. The worst and most deplorable religion are Judaism and Satanism, which are the same thing. Oh, damn. Okay. And I mean, the guys, I was like at the end of the manifesto, like bro broke down his beliefs. Both of them did.
And making it illegal, which is exactly what the president has proposed doing. Okay.
Let me know if y'all want to read that.
Sure, Jordan Conrad's here with Gateway Pundit. I'll try to make this short. There was, you might have seen this, there was a massive United Kingdom rally in London just last weekend. They were protesting mass illegal immigration and the replacement of British culture. What message do you think this should send to globalist European leaders and to leaders here? And also, I wanted to ask about several House members are revamping this push to pass it's called the Dignity Act, but it's really just an amnesty bill giving work visas and allowing millions of illegals to stay in the country. Is that something the White House wants to see stopped in the House?
Well, number one, I don't like giving amnesty to anybody. Number two, since you asked about...
No. Actually, lunatic libertarian, what it sounds like is Christian terrorism.
Great Britain and the United Kingdom rally. One of the ironies,
like that.
One of the great ironies of this job is that for the past couple of years, you see these protests break out all over the country, and sometimes, they're fairly well attended, and sometimes they're very poorly attended. Everybody holds these signs saying "No Kings," right? And how many Democratic lawmakers have I seen holding up signs that say "No Kings"? They are very, very insistent that we not have kings. And then King Charles comes to the congressional chamber, and these guys break out in rapturous applause. So maybe they don't care so much about kings as they pretend that they do. Maybe they just don't like the agenda that we're implementing that's actually making American workers and American families safe and prosperous again. But to answer your question about this immigration issue, look, one of the problems that we have in all of Western societies is that we have a lot of people who've decided, Wall Street bankers, corporate lobbyists, and government officials, that what the United States and what the West need is more and more cheap labor. What we believe in this White House is what we need more and more of is high wages for American workers and investing in our own people.
Yeah, tell that to Trump, because it's not really investing in our own people when you deport 600,000 people, but then you bring in 600,000 Chinese students. I mean, well, honestly, they were going to be spies. Let's be real, 600,000. Like, and guys, look at it. We've forcibly deported, not by, the guys who sign up on the app, like, self-deporting. No, we forcibly deport about 600,000 people. And then Trump's talking about bringing in 600,000 Chinese students. I'm just like, are we really caring about Americans? Or are we just looking out for the tech oligarchs at this point?
See all over the West, and it's kind of crazy, is this idea that the way to generate prosperity is to bring in millions and millions of unvetted people and drop them into your neighborhoods, and we simply reject that idea. So to everybody in the UK who rejects that idea, I'd encourage them to just keep on going. It's okay to want to defend your culture. It's okay to want to live in a safe neighborhood. It's okay to want your job to go to yourself and your neighbors and not to a stranger who you don't even know. It is reasonable for the people in Western societies to want to control.
And I would just say with that Tommy Robinson protest, I agreed with half of the message. Half of the message of sticking up for your culture and British and English culture. I get that. I respect it. But you don't gotta sit there and hate Islam to do it. And that's just the egregious part, is they'll sit there and one crime from a Muslim mean that all the Muslims are bad. One grape from a Pakistani means that all Pakistanis are graping it en masse. It's like, that's the outrageousness that's going on in that same movement. And if they was to remove that, then their move would be taken a whole lot more seriously, and they could probably get some stuff done. Just take out the bigotry.
Control who comes into their country.
I'm sorry, but bigotry in any argument just drops the IQ points of it.
And who doesn't. A lot of people, a lot of people in the media have tried to persuade all of those people that it's somehow racist to want to protect your borders, even though very often the very people who are most affected by low-wage immigration are lower-income Black and Hispanic Americans right here in the United States of America. Yeah. And I guarantee that's true in the UK. So we believe in making America great again.
I mean, shoot, but here's the thing, though. Y'all love to talk about the undocumented immigrants, and you're right. It does affect Black community, low-income Black communities, and all that good stuff. But then let's talk about on the upper class, where you allow a whole bunch of H-1B visas in. You allowed 85,000. You guys hit cap last year. 85,000 H-1B visas came in. So what about the Black scholars, the Mexican scholars, the guys who did the right thing, went to STEM? What about them? You're selling us out. You're selling those guys out for what? Chinese people? Chinese spies? Like, bro.
Again, you can't do that unless you protect your borders. I'd encourage our friends in the UK to follow the same path. Thank you all. Good to see you.
Hey, yo, lunatic. He said, I'm a bigot against politicians. You know what, bro? I'm almost there with you. I'm almost there with you, bro. I'm about to get the Klans outfit in a minute. We have to make our own Klans outfit for politicians, for the hatred of politicians. And you can't even say we're racist, because politicians come in all colors. But guys, let's make sure we're double tapping that screen. We got about okay, good, about 10 of y'all in here to War 15. But if you haven't liked the video already, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video. But all right, guys, let's go on to Massey's disappointing loss. Bruh.